Yeah, actually, it's a project about developing metacognitive abilities of elementary and secondary expectations, actually. Yes, so I was fascinated about the concept of metacognition, which is, okay, essentially knowing about knowing, but is about planning. It's about when and how to use the knowledge. It's about meta consciousness about knowledge. This is a very good problem showing the importance of metacognition, which says that there are 20 ships on a boat and 15 goats. How old is the captain? And if you put these questions to second years, I mean, not students, 12th grade, no, second grade children, I mean, 8, 9 years old, they will say that the captain is 50 years old. So they know how to add numbers. What is adding numbers, they know that is declarative addition. What is adding, they know the procedure how to add numbers 20 to 15, but they don't know that in some cases when should I add that 20 to 15 cases. The conditional knowledge about how to use that knowledge is missing, and this is the sense of metacognition. Findings is previous research findings that metacognition is a key component in self-regulation and has a primary role in determining successful learning in various contexts. What is not written here, it's the most engaging previous finding, is that experts in any domain is used much more metacognitive, much more planning than beginners, which is a kind of intriguous finding, because if you are a good mathematician, solving a simple problem, you don't have to make, you would think, planning that much. But I learned that I would, before jumping into solve any kind of problem, experts use much, then very much more. And this is finding already applicable in any kind of learning or teaching situation, that we should teach the importance of planning those extra classes. And in general, being an expert in a field correlates to the higher level of use of methodology. Actually, it is written here. Okay, it is a fuzzy concept. There are even articles saying that we should not, okay, this is 20-year-old article, that it's a too fuzzy concept. Because what is metacognitive? And in that specific article, it's written that, for example, summarizing a text helps you to understand that text. That is a cognitive process because it has understanding. But knowing that a text is difficult and is too long to understand, and knowing that summarizing, for example, will help me understand the text, the same strategy that is summarizing is metacognitively applied. It's applied just to make my understanding easier. So this is why it's a fuzzy concept in that the articles argued, because sometimes strategy can be cognitive and not cognitive, but it depends on the conditional knowledge when to apply that specific strategy. So metacognitive is a complex concept because it has several components that it's includes the example metacognitive knowledge that's about our strengths and weaknesses, that also the nature and source of knowledge and the criteria. Where do I have this type of knowledge? So this implies critical thinking and fast news, which is so a hot topic now. Thinking about why am I sure about this? This is a classic metacognitive. Why am I sure? How can I be more sure about this? For metacognition can be taught at a disposition, which is a kind of epistemological foundation of thinking, that is my conception of knowledge, my conception about the word and knowing. So that includes standards for rating the knowledge claims. For example, epistemological knowledge would be that what I consider to be scientifically proven, what do I consider to be science? We have argument even between our colleagues in what is science, what is not science, not everyone has his own definition. So this is epistemological thinking. And theory of mind, the third focus is the ability to break explain behavior, describing mental states to self. That is, what do I believe that the others know? What is their knowings? And how will they behave in certain situations? And why do they behave in certain situations? What do we think, the previous presentations was certainly something else. Okay. So that is what is metacognitive. The case of summarizing, I've explained this already. That, for example, summarizing as a process of or original material is reduced to its main points. Let's say sentence procedural, how to do a summary of a text. Conditional, when do you summarize? When the text contains too much new ideas, that cognitively, metacognitively, you are not sure about understanding, then write a summary. So the same summarizing strategy you can use as metacognitive. Why cognitive process? Because it makes it simplify. We all did while we were students and had long text or textbooks. We made short except topics. But metacognitively, if you summarizing, is check your understanding. Do you understand the text? Yes, write a summary of it. Okay, you can check your understanding. Okay, we have decided, the team in our project, the team was a Greek team, for example, Aristotle University and 3 universities of Cyprus, that new intervention, because they said that metacognitive intervention has include all these 3 components, not just metacognitive, one component of metacognition, that they decided 3 components: intervention, metacognition, as theory of mind, as epistemic thinking, and as knowledge and regulation our cognitive self, as I explained earlier, the difficulties of the cognition. So, and they also included second point. So earlier, the previous interventions has focused on increasing metacognitive awareness of children. But they designed the intervention that we should also evaluate the metacognitive near-aware thinking. I would call it a metacognitive aware thinking. What do they, teacher know about metacognition, and they should also be trained about the importance of metacognitive cognition. So they said that there's a possible gap between research and practice in the questions, and they have to be reflective thinkers. Teachers have to be reflective thinkers, and also they have to support students' reflective thinking and learning. So they should be metacognitively aware of this dual role. So this was the main ideas of the intervention, the product and promoting metacognitive theory of mind thinking project. This is the project name. This is the rest of the homepage of this. So adapting the design of intervention studies, that the intervention studies that, okay, we design a training program, and based on the reflections, the intervention studies, the main particularity of this, that teachers act as kind of researchers. They implement the training program, and they write their diaries. What they write, regularly writing their diaries, and the diaries are taken into consideration in order to improve the program. So the Promaton project's aim is to promote primary and secondary students' metacognition. So elementary school students is 9-11 years old. Actually, elementary school in Cyprus, for example, is 6th grade. So in Romania, it's 4 grades. So we have to, and Hungary is also 4 grades. So we have to specify that the age groups and secondary school. School was actually the 11 years in Romanian secondary, but in the project primary. Okay. So teachers and students from 5 countries have participated: Cyprus, Greece, Hungary, Portugal, and Romania. So the teacher training program in 5 countries included 12 to 90 minutes training sessions, about 2 hours every week. It was an introduction, the excellent research program, and we explained them 2 sessions about metacognitive memory. This was the sense, the epistemic cognition and theory of mind. And after that, they applied that specific training session to schools, and they three sessions were feedback sessions where they have related their experiences. So as I explained, they act as researchers and keeping record of students' progress. So there, as in every developmental program, there was pre and post test, post intervention measures. So before the training program, I mean, before the teaching, teacher has evaluated their teaching practices. And also after that, there were two different tests of metacognitively aware teaching. And they have evaluated, they have given an explanation kind of, quite a questionnaire, what is metacognition, what is considered metacognitively, and they address different kind of questions to rate their students, their individually about how metacognitive awareness for specific student is. And students were given three questionnaires each, twice before and after the intervention: metacognitive, epistemic, and theory of mind. Interestingly, in Romania and Hungary, we did not apply in elementary school the epistemic questions. Teacher agreed that is too hard, too difficult to implement. The questionnaire and the training program as well, but the other countries, they implemented it. So but we didn't find it appropriate for that age group. I will talk now, this was the concept of the training program. I will talk up to now the Romania procedure, the project is still ongoing. So there were two training sessions in all of the countries. There were two training sessions. It was planned just one, but the first in neither. That I mean, there were too few teachers in time. First in semester 2008 was just 20 teachers in Romania, and second, it was 85. I will explain later why that in this number. There was an intensive work in this project. I mean, teachers were not paid in that, and they were expected to participate in 12 training sessions to apply unlimited, I mean, pre-test and post-test for students to evaluate their students, and they had to do just for my smile from our part. So it was kind of accepted that attrition, that is the diminishing the number of teachers who started the project, and meanwhile diminishing, it was at least in Romania, at least about 45%. We started with almost 200 teachers, and only 105 of them have done a work to be evaluated. So analyzing the results is ongoing. The project endings has to be postponed to August. That was expected to 6 more months because a lot of data to be analyzed at the project level. So the results from Romania, I represent also secondary students, not the primary, and also the theory of mind development. And their questionnaires included only the qualitative data analysis, but analyzing the data is ongoing, and quantitative data analysis. So there were two treatment groups in Romania: experimental 22 classes, 300 students, and control 10 classes, 130 students. So the theory of mind, so I will not my presentation on the theory of mind, it has three types of tests. That is two strange stories tests that are from Happe, it is 2007. So quantifiable is it to what it said. It was presented, students were presented as short saying sorry, and it is to what it said. Yes, if the answer was correct, it's just given 1 point. There were three types of this kind of problem, and also qualitative questions. What did she say? That I mean, the experts in the project is still have arguments how to read this answer. So. To that's 5 very historic. That is kind of story that she thinks, that they think, that see what I think, A thinks, that the second person thinks that about the third person is thinking, which is third order thinking. And there's a question: what does the character believe? Has to choose between two answers. Both of seem two answers seems reasonable, and this a good answer was given 1 point, and there were 6 reading in the mind's eye tests adapted from all the tests are adapted from the scientific literature. This is the kind of reading the mind. Students were presented this kind of pictures, and they will have to choose what does the expression believes. I mean, express. Data analysis Data analysis was analyzed, at least in case of Romania, with ANCOVA analysis variance is covariance. It's the independent variable of the treatment groups, that is experimental, comparing experimental control. The covariate, that is covariance per treatment measure, that is ANCOVA, will treat, analyze the final result, result, but by keeping the pretest measures in control. So this is why ANCOVA is quite good in quite appropriate in this setting. So I will present some data. I mean, just this is too hard to describe, but the significance in case of strange stories tests. I said there are two types of testing the theory of mind development, that is in when comparing experimental to control group. The difference is for the experimental group, and ANCOVA arrives a significance difference at this level, that is the effect of the intervention for the strange stories test. But for the third order thinking, is the significance is much higher, and also the experimental group is performed has higher results, and the reading in minding the eye type, that's the facial expressions. The difference was not significant between the experimental and the control group, although the experimental group who received the training had higher mean results, but not as high as to be significant. It's close to significance, but it's not significant. And somehow unprofessionally, I combined the two texts that I have added the numbers from the three texts, and in this case also for the experimental results is good. I mean, it's higher. Okay. Teacher diaries are not the students in at first, the students didn't, I mean, they were kind of, I'm talking about the tests. The students didn't understand the text. I mean, it's not that they didn't understand, it was quite unfamiliar with the test question. What she thinks about that she thinks, and what's the interpretation of the problems. And the main problem of the teachers was that they don't get grades, and they didn't find out what's the good answer. And students want to find out what's the good answer. They couldn't be told what's the good answer because there was a second part of similar test coming. We knew about that, so we couldn't tell them. Other experiences, why we have learned in the project that the major motivation avoided the participation of Romanian teacher increased the second question. We have discovered that participating in an international project, besides scientific units, the project is taken into consideration when applying for payments by majors applying for a higher teacher degree. So if we give them a certificate that they are participating in the project, and this was quite motivating for me. And the second time there were 80 teachers participating, almost 115, but 80 had received main. So this was the main motivation. And what we have learned in the project, that we have advertised it in the internet, and we paid promotional code. It was not a big money, I mean, just 30 or 40 euros for advertising. And during a short period, I mean, 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, a lot of teachers wanted to participate. So advertisement works even in case of projects. So there are still ongoing analysis. I'm just finishing analysis quantitative data, and teachers diaries is done just this week in Cyprus, project level data analysis. And also, it will be interesting to compare students and also teacher rating of students versus student results. I mean, what is the concordance with teachers' rating and student results? And also, we have taken the data for teachers, their teaching experiences, and that we will analyze it. Maybe experienced teachers are more effective in the training, maybe not, we will find out. Okay, thank you for your attention.